Welcome to this video about PBL, which is project-based learning in the EFL classroom. Okay, I will start by defining what it is. Okay, so project-based learning is a student-centered approach in which students drive the learning process through inquiry, research, and collaborative work. Right? Uh, the idea of implementing PBL in the classroom is that students become independent thinkers, right? Rather than the teacher being there having a sort of monologue, right? So here we observe different roles for both the student and the teachers, right? So while the teacher will be guiding the students and oversee the process, the student will create inquiry questions, plan and organize their project, identify materials, and select a way to display or to show the potential solutions that they have found to any given problem. As a tool, PBL engages students in real-world tasks. The aim of this methodology is to provide multiple strategies that are necessary to reach goal in the 21st century. For instance, here I name two of these strategies. One, collaboration, that gives students the necessary tools to successfully work in collaboration with others, and communication provides students with the essential implements to have a voice in real-life situations. Now, what are the outcomes that we observe in PBL apart from different products, tangible products that students will produce? We have some outcomes like responsibility, independence, and discipline. Now, when it comes to a PBL in the English classroom, we're going to identify 6 steps that are essential for this methodology. Okay, step number 1 is called define the problem. Step 2 is called solution criteria. Step 3, solution research. Step 4, pick a solution. Step 5, create, run, and inspect solution. And the last step, step 6, is called reflect on solution. Okay, so here we go with step number 1. It's called define the problem. And here we're going to identify 3 sub-steps, okay, that are crucial, again, to set the PBL vibe in the classroom. Okay, first sub-step is called give context and motivate students with the topic, which is something that might be our entry event. Okay, here the teacher should provide activities or presentation that hook the students, okay, and give the students their role in this particular project that is about to be performed. The teacher should lay out a problem or challenge to be completed or solved. Um, the teacher should give clues for students to research and ask questions about what is going to be researched or what is going to be solved. Something that is called the need to know steps. Okay. Here, in this step, the teacher identifies community connection, okay, which are not always present, but usually when you create a project, try to solve a problem, it is related to some real life situation, which might be a problem at their own school, in the classroom, in the playground, or even in the neighborhood. And it's very important that the project aligns with the project rubric. Okay, that should be thought of and created and showed in advance. Now let's move on to the second sub-step, which is set the driving question. Now, what's this? What's a driving question, you may ask? Okay, a driving question is the main question of a PBL unit that guides students throughout the PBL process. So it will make the student behave in a way in order to get to this final product. Okay, some characteristics of driving questions are that they are provocative, they are open-ended, they are discipline-centered, they are always challenging, and they are consistent with curricular standards and frameworks. Now, it's very important that when you create a driving question for your students, it's not something that they can Google or that could be easily answered um, by doing a simple research, but rather collaborative work. And I repeat, some interesting research. Uh, that's why it should be provocative, right? And challenging. I'm going to outline some examples of driving questions for both primary school and secondary school. Here we go. So for primary school, um, the first one says, how can we create a bilingual storybook to help younger students learn English? So if you give this question to students, they will try to find ways on how to solve this problem, this problematic. A second example will be, what can we do to make our school eco-friendlier? And how can we present our ideas in English? Okay, so this is something that can happen to any community. Um, and um, Here you give the students the possibility to decide how to present their ideas. Number three, how can we organize a cultural exchange with students from English-speaking countries? And four, how can we use English to explore and learn about different cultures from around the world? Five, what actions can we take to raise awareness about environmental issues and present them in English? So as you can see, there are different aspects that can be part of some other subjects in English, like science, history, um, technology, but they can be implemented in the English classroom as part of a project. Um, these driving questions will make students think of potential solutions, share their ideas, research, find uh, potential ways to solve these situations, and finally decide on one as a team. Now let's head to the secondary school ideas of driving questions. Okay, number one says, how can we create a persuasive campaign in English to address a relevant social issue in our community? Now, the social issue can be given by the teacher or it can be presented by the student, okay, as a brainstorm activity, for example. Number two, what can we do to improve our English language skills and demonstrate our progress through a creative project? So here you're giving students independence and how to show off their skills. Maybe a play, maybe a video, uh, running, I don't know, TV show. Um, Number three, how can we use English to analyze and discuss important global challenges such as climate change or poverty. And number four, how can we create an English language podcast or video series to share stories and perspectives on important societal topics? Um, Again, you give them the opportunity to decide. Okay. And the last one, actions can we take to raise funds for a charity organization? Document the process in English and present the impact of our contributions. So as you can see here, we can even um, apply some math to our project in English. Okay. Um, Now, something how it should look like in the classroom when you provide students with this um, driving questions, you give them the opportunity on how to solve this issue. So a good way would be to write the question on the board and let them brainstorm their own ideas. You can read out all students' ideas and let them decide which ones are the best ones for this class. Okay, now uh, going on with this presentation, let's go to the third substep of the first stage of PBL, which is called the know or the need to know. Okay, this is something that you as a teacher and students also need to identify. Okay, when it comes to the know, these are the skills, the content, the background knowledge that students already know about the topic of the PBL unit and the problem being addressed. Okay, and the need to know will be then the skills, the contents, and logistical information required to complete the PBL unit. Questions arise, and the answers are unknown to the students and require teacher support in acquiring and mastering those questions. Okay. Um, Again, once the driving question is set, the topic is set, they know what type of vocabulary they will need to use, what type of skills they will need to use, the tools, whatever tools they are, they can recognize and identify what they already know and what they need to know. So you as a teacher may pay special attention to the need to know section and face new challenges probably that you didn't expect or you didn't think of when planning this PBL lesson, right? Now it's your role, it's your duty to guide students with this need to know um, aspects. Okay. All right. Once the driving question is set and students identify what they know and what they need to know, uh, they should start thinking of a solution criteria, what they are going to do. Okay, that would be step number two. They will define the standards on how to proceed. Okay, that will lead then to step number three, which is solution research. Again, let's remember that this is group work. Okay, now there are different ways on how to conduct this research depending on uh, your students' level, the age, and the resources that you have available at school. Okay, so the easiest way to run this step will be to take students to any computer lab and let them use the internet to find information. However, that is not always possible. So A solution for that would be to ask the students to bring some material in advance, use some books. If they are young learners, you can also ask parents to provide students with some material as well, right? It will all depend on the level and the resources available. Okay. Um, Once students have discovered potential solutions, um, after the research, they'll have to pick a solution and work towards this project. Okay, so they will check the research and the rubric that you provided at the beginning and select a solution. You can provide students with something like this, um, the solution criteria, the solution one, two, three, four, whatever they decide, and they can select the best one. Then move on to step number 5, which is called create, run, and inspect the solution. Here, we're working towards our final product, okay? Um, that can lead into a presentation of this product or project. Now I'm going to show you some examples, common examples of final or end products of a PBL unit. Okay, so after students have conducted some research, they can produce podcasts. There should be panel discussion. They can even develop a website. Okay, um, there can be even public events, which is very common at school, like having an English fair or English week or English day, where each class shows their project. Okay, um, there could be a proposal, for example, for improving the green areas of school, or how to implement a recycling system at school or in the neighborhood. Um, they can even uh, produce a movie or short video or a play, right? Um, Again, there are many different possibilities. Remember that these end products or final products are usually part of the real world, and these are products um, or actions that take place for real. Okay, in this uh, almost final step, students show mastery and understanding of the task, so they're ready to present everything that they have worked on in the previous lesson. Now, let me remind you that when it comes to PBL, um, you should think of at least 5 or 7 class different classes, different lessons. This will depend, of course, on how well they progress, the time that you have with them, and how challenging the project is for the students. Now, before we go into the last step, I want to mention something that is crucial for PBL, which is called the benchmarks. Okay. Now, you may wonder what are benchmarks. Okay. So benchmarks are subtasks, and they are needed to complete the final product, which are often assessed and are something that every student or group must complete. You can also call them the checkpoints. So this will give the students sort of sense of achievement after each class. So they will know that they are completing some small task before they reach the final product or the final project. Okay. Um, Now, benchmark should be necessary pieces of the final product. Okay, as I said, they are called checkpoints as well, and they provide an instance for the teacher to provide students with feedback, how well they are progressing, what needs to be reinforced, etc. They should be assessed. um, then it's your decision whether it's going to be some formative evaluation or summative evaluation. And uh, this benchmark should be supported through scaffolding. Now, I'm going to refer to scaffolding in a minute. Now, you can't see it there, but benchmarks should be clearly stated at the beginning of this PBL unit. Okay, so students should know that they will have to complete several steps before they reach their final product. Okay, so this is not something that will come as a surprise in each class, but something that they already know about. Now I'll give you some examples of benchmarks for both primary school and secondary school. And I will take two examples that were given before for primary school. When building a bilingual storybook, I'm going to list some benchmarks that students could complete, checkpoints, different moments. The teacher can see how well they are progressing and give feedback, of course. So benchmark number one for a bilingual storybook is to research and choose a story. Okay, so students select a well-known story and conduct research on its cultural background. They identify key elements that can be adapted for a bilingual storybook. So the first one is decision making, right? Number two, create bilingual story draft. Okay, so students collaboratively create a draft of the bilingual storybook, ensuring that it includes both the original language and perhaps English translations. Um, a potential benchmark three will be to illustrate and design. So students design a layout and illustrations for the storybook. They should decide on the visual elements that will enhance the story. Okay, now here we not only pay attention to language, but also we give space for the students to use some other skills that they may have in terms of art. You can ask them, or they can decide that they are going to draw all the illustrations, that they will take pictures and then print those pictures, or they will take those pictures from the internet. I don't know. They will decide. A benchmark number four will be to present to younger students. So a student present a bilingual storybook to younger students in English using storytelling techniques, which is another skill. Okay. And benchmark number five is reflect and share. Okay, so students reflect on what they've done. Okay, and they can share the project with the school community, probably during an event like an English fair, for example. Okay, now let me show you some benchmarks for a project in secondary school. And this time I chose the persuasive campaign. Okay, so benchmark number one is to identify social issues. Okay, so students research and identify a local social issue that needs attention. Okay, they present their findings and explain why the issue is important. Okay, benchmark number two for this project could be to develop persuasive message. Okay, students created persuasive messages, slogans, and visuals to raise awareness of the issue. They collect feedback from peers and refine their messages. So, as this is a campaign, campaigns are usually done through advertising. They can be in the form of leaflets, posters. Um, it could be short video. Okay, it could be photo with the slogan. Um, so this is part of the research process as well. Uh, An example for a benchmark 3 will be to plan a campaign strategy. So students develop a comprehensive strategy for their campaign, including specific actions, target audiences, and communication channels. They create a campaign plan. So they already have the way they're going to show this campaign, the messages that they are going to show. Now they need to find the way or the channels to do this, and identify the audience. So, what's the target audience? Is it parents at school? Is it students? Is it politicians from the city? How is it going to be published on the internet? Um, the school magazine, probably. I don't know. Benchmark 4 for this potential project is called Implement the Campaign. So here students launch and execute their persuasive campaign using English as primary language of communication. Now they can document the campaign's progress. And finally, bench 5, um, similar to the previous example, is called Assess Impact and Reflect. Okay, so students evaluate the success of their campaign by analyzing probably data. Um, they can run some surveys, collect data, considering feedback on how well the campaign is designed and the impact that it has. Okay, and they can reflect on the effectiveness of this persuasive campaign. Okay, now let's move on onto something that is also crucial for the PBL um, methodology, which is scaffolding. Now, I repeat, when you work with PBL, you need to consider a set of different lessons. Now, if your students are not used to work as part of PBL projects, um, and you as a teacher um, haven't used this much, you need to consider the following, which is scaffolding. Okay, so as you can see, um, when it comes to a PBL unit, we talk about a set of different lessons, um, whatever you need, 5 lessons, 6 lessons, 7 lessons, where students apply previous knowledge. They find out information that probably they didn't know, and they try to solve any given problem in any given way. Now, in terms of the English class, they should know uh, some skills in advance. They should know some content in advance and also some grammar and vocabulary. So, for example, if they are going to create something that is help as advice on whatever matter, for example, how to keep a healthy lifestyle, they should know vocabulary related to healthy life in terms of food, in terms of sports, healthy habits, and uh, they should know, I don't know, some phrasal verbs or modal verbs, expressions that help them to communicate um, pieces of advice. Okay, as simple as using "you should do this." Okay, so let's go with scaffolding. If you don't know what scaffolding is, here there is a short definition. Okay, so scaffolding consists of lessons, workshops, activities, and resources that help students master the content and skills needed to complete a PBL unit. Okay, they are the pieces of a PBL that support students in successfully completing benchmarks. Okay, now benchmarks are what students do, okay, the ones that I just show you, and scaffolding is what teachers do to help students complete the benchmarks. Okay, so scaffolding is the previous knowledge as well as the new knowledge that is going to start building or help build this longer project. Okay, now as an analogy, just like in construction, scaffolding in the classroom is the structure used to support students to aid the learning process. Okay, so it's what supports them in order to get to this final project. Okay, also, like in the real world, scaffolding in the classroom should be temporary. Okay, probably the teacher's help in this case, and will be able to be removed once the building, or in this case, the knowledge, the skill is securely in place, right? Now, scaffolding activities should be open-ended activities. They should promote higher level thinking. They should actively involve students in the learning process. They should be tied to the overall objectives of the project, and they should support students in the completion of each benchmark. Okay, now with all this in mind, we get to the final step, which is called reflect on solution. Okay, now in this reflection is the process of taking time to evaluate your work and performance to see what needs to be improved or what has been gained in the learning process. Okay, reflection is a necessary aspect of every PBL unit. While it most often shows up at the completion of a PBL unit, it is needed throughout the entire process. Okay, now as a conclusion, we can state the following. Okay, PBL offers significant advantages, including enhanced students' engagement, critical thinking, and real-world problem-solving skills. It encourages active learning, collaboration, and the development of 21st century skills, as I mentioned at the beginning. However, PBL requires careful planning, time investment, and complex assessment. It might not be suitable for all subjects or for all the units that you have to teach during the year, and can raise concerns about curriculum coverage. Yes, because the students will not be completing worksheets all the time. They will not be taking a test at the end of the unit. Um, so it's important that you let probably the authorities at your school that you're going to work in this way. Okay, sometimes the parents as well should know. Okay, um, nevertheless, considering both advantages and disadvantages, PBL remains is a valuable tool for educators, promoting motivated and well structured learners, balancing its advantages with specific educational needs is key to its successful implementation. That is all. Thank you very much for watching until the end. Um, if you have any question, just let me know. Bye.